Hey guys, welcome to the World Cup Fantasy game. Yes, obviously the game dropped yesterday. If you haven't already, go check out my video on how to play it. I go through the rules and all that stuff with you guys, as it is my first time playing a World Cup Fantasy. I've never done Euros, never done Champions League style. I've only done fantasy football, so we go in a little bit of depth of how to play the game. I will link this page so that you can obviously go and check that out. But here is the code to get into my own league. It will be left in the comments and the description for any of you that want to join. Just like the Fantasy Premier League, it is open to everyone, new players, existing players, and so forth. Currently, we've got obviously 2 players in the league already. Obviously, the game only came out yesterday, so very good start. But in today's episode, we're going to be starting with my first ever draft. And I played around with it. Obviously, I had to create a team to set up a league and stuff, and that stuff. But I think I've got a good squad already. It's not guaranteed because I know I will change my squad to try and get better players in and stuff. But it's very important because of how the way the system works. It's a little bit different to Fantasy FPL. You need to really target better games because of the high scoring points. So you're going to be looking at games where there are teams that are playing very easy fixtures, such as, obviously, if we just scroll down quickly, Scotland versus Haiti. They should really win that. Teams like Spain versus Capo Verde. No, they're expected to beat them very comfortably. So they're the players you want to kind of target into your team. So we're going to go through my draft. Obviously, it takes a while to get used to how the transfers work and how the whole page works and stuff, and everything. But this is what I've gone for. So in goal, if we can go, you can search by team, nation, positions and price and stuff. So in the goalkeeper position, there's some great goalkeepers, but I've gone for Brajan Nyland from Norway. Got obviously Iran there, Senegal and France. He's my backup goalkeeper. Maybe potentially could be the number 1 goalkeeper for this Iran game. And then I will go into my strategy of how to play, what I'm doing for this tournament. But realistically, I'm going to be wildcarding, using my wildcard chip in between these 2 weeks, as you do automatically get unlimited transfers after the group stages. So it's basically a free hit if you use your wildcard in this week. So obviously he won't be playing anyway. My other one is Kobel for Switzerland. Not the biggest name, but will be the number 1 for Switzerland. And a game where he can definitely get a clean sheet in Qatar. Definitely, potentially a clean sheet against Bosnia. And then if we are wildcarding and get rid of him before that Canada game, it's not bad 2 goalkeepers to have. Currently, 9.4% owned, 4.7 million, and at the minute, I can't see if that's 25 or 2.5, but Nyland there. Moving into the defence where it's stacked, and to be honest, when picking defenders, you want to make sure that you've got obviously a player that's playing, but also rather than centre backs getting DEFCON points and stuff like that, you probably want to be targeting left backs. So as you can see in my team, I've got 3 left backs and then 2 centre backs. So for the cheapest option in my defence is Ousmane Dembele. Ousmane Demonde, from Ivory Coast. A good game against Ecuador, I think, could definitely do something. Germany is not a great game, but this Curacao definitely would be a game where you think Ivory Coast could get a some sort of points from. My second defender is obviously Alphonso Davies. For me, I think Alphonso Davies could play all 3 games, get some attacking returns, get some assists, get some clean sheet, because he might be a defender, but we know how good he is attacking for Bayern Munich and for his country. He basically plays as a left winger for Canada. So I think for him, 4.9, currently 4.9% owned, would come under that 5% threshold where it would get extra 2 points. So I think that's a good one. Then my next one is Daniel Munoz from Crystal Palace, obviously Colombian. 16.7% owned, so he's on the high side of ownership so far, with the game only coming out. But a game against Azerbaijan, against Congo, and then potentially wildcarding in that final game week. Match day, sorry, not game week. I need to get used to the terminology of the new game. But wildcarding in match day 3 there would also then obviously rule out not having to play Portugal, and targeting those really good 2 fixtures early on. My next one is again going back to Norway for those 2 good fixtures against Iran and Senegal, is Julian Ryerson, currently owned by 7.8 is that? Yeah, 7.8% of players. Again, basically targeting those 2 good fixtures at the start, wildcarding in match day 3 to avoid the France fixture. Next, someone that I might get rid of, but is definitely under that 4% threshold, and you're targeting those 2 games in the first. As you can see, my squad, I'm definitely targeting those 2 fixtures, as my chip strategy is to wildcard in this middle game. Arejo. Now I am very aware that he didn't have a good season with Barcelona, but coming into this Uruguay squad, I expect him to start. I expect him to be the starting player in their squad. Moving for a man that I would definitely keep no matter what is Bruno Fernandes. Player of the year in the Premier League, had the record breaking in the Premier League, and I think where the bonus points and the midfielder points is so well, I think Bruno would thrive in that. And even this Colombia game, where Colombia not bad, I still would pick him as a good player there. Moving back to Colombia, 20.9% owned is Luis Diaz from Bayern Munich. Obviously had a great season in the Champions League, and I think for Colombia could be a player who carries them. If you're not going James Rodriguez, Luis Diaz, sorry, you could be looking at a differential of James Rodriguez, still knocking about age 33, 34 in the Colombian side. We expect him to be his last World Cup, but definitely could be targeting as a differential for these 2 game weeks. Moving to a player that I've brought in, again we spoke about obviously Kobel in goal. Well, Granit Xhaka under that 5% owned, 6.2 million. There's again, the midfield is very stacked, and is not definitely. This isn't my final team. I've got a lot of playing around to do, but a man that's done amazing things to get Sunderland into the Europa League, is the captain for Switzerland, I believe. Penalties, free kicks and stuff will be all around him. So I think he will definitely do well. A player that's not done well in obviously in the Premier League, but has shone in the Bundesliga, shone for Germany, and that is the main man, Florian Wirtz, owned by 20%, which is very high. So he's not going to get those scouting differential points. But games targeting that Cusacano and Ivory Coast, even the Ecuador game at the end, if I don't wildcard him out in that matchday 3, that's still a good option. Obviously, you got to take into consideration Musiala, Havertz and stuff, but I do think Florian Wirtz should start for Germany. Moving to a player now that I think is decent enough to warrant the fixtures, especially if you're looking for this first game, Hasey. If Scotland need a result and they want to progress throughout the tournament, this is a must-win game, and I think Scott McTominay McSaucy is the right man for the job. Currently owned at 6.5 million. Again, same price as Granit Xhaka, but he's going to boss that midfield. Morocco is obviously a decent game, but I do expect Scotland to be able to get at least a draw from this game, and then wildcarding back into match 3 to avoid the Brazil. But even then, obviously, if you're taking a punt on Scotland needing a result, that is the man that you probably want it to fall to. So Scott McTominay, definitely a player there. Now, I've gone forward heavy, as you can see. Kylian Mbappe, the only French player in my side at the minute, but a game against Senegal, game against Iran, definitely two amazing fixtures that you'd think Kylian Mbappe could definitely go crazy on. The Norway against France is obviously going to be a big one, but you wouldn't have to get rid of Mbappe. I think he would be good enough to warrant keeping for that game. The other striker is obviously, again, looking at Norway, targeting that Iran fixture, targeting that Senegal fixture, and a man that you would want to step up in a game big like this is Erling Haaland. 31%, nearly 32% owned already, with only the game coming out just yesterday. I think Erling Haaland and Mbappe would be absolutely dangerous. Now, my final player is none other than Cristiano Ronaldo. If England can't win the World Cup, I want Portugal to do it, and this man needs a good tournament. His last ever World Cup, but Congo Dakar, Ubestane, these are two fixtures you are definitely looking to target for, obviously, Portugal there. Colombia is not even a bad fixture for Ronaldo. So yeah, that is my current first draft 11. It's not crazy. Well, I say it's not crazy. You got Kylian Mbappe, Erling Haaland, and Ronaldo up top. But I'm going to be playing around with it because obviously, I've got 3 million. Could I improve a midfielder? Could I improve to get a better, higher rated defender? You know, if we go to defenders, you know, Munoz would be a great option. Bit out of my price range, but if I made a couple of changes, I'd be looking to try and maybe get Kimmich in, who's a great fixture of Germany, or even a French centre back. Like, we could get rid of Araujo, and then target maybe a French or German centre back. But this is the problem with the World Cup, is there are so many quality players. If you're going for the big nations, who starts? That is the real question. You know, if you got France, you can see already here: Gusto, Fernandes, Saliba, Upamecano, Koundé. Like, those are massive names. One of them would probably miss out because they're probably going to play a 4-3-4. 4-3-3 or something like that. So one of those defenders would be good. Even Germany, Schlotterbeck, Tah, Kimmich and Rudiger. Who starts? Maybe that is the back four. Rudiger, Kimmich at right back. You know, you never know. So that is going to be my first ever draft. I think it's not a bad draft for your first ever one. Obviously, we got 3 weeks to play around, scout some players that you think were good, looking at those differentials, you know, from those cheaper nations. Also, you need a little bit of budgeting options in there. But yeah, I think that is going to be my first ever draft for you guys. So, like I said, if you come and want to join and get involved with my mini league, the league is going to be here. I will just zoom in quickly, just so that obviously you can see it. The code there for you guys. That is the code to join my mini league. Just come to leagues, join leagues, and that is the code. You're going to be R8XWV21T is the code. Come and join, get involved. I will leave my Discord channel and group in the comments as well, so that you can join, getting interactive with all the people playing and joining the league. But for now, guys, I think that has been today's episode. I'm so looking forward to World Cup Fantasy. I've never done it before. A little bit different to fantasy football. I need to get my head around. But if you haven't already, go check out how to play the game. It's on my channel, so you can go and watch that before you pick your team, because there's a lot of new chips, a lot of point systems, different points per midfielders, defenders and attackers. So go and check that out. But for now, guys, this is going to be my current first draft team. So we've got some big names in there like Kylian Mbappe, Haaland and Ronaldo. But thank you for watching. See you soon, and good luck picking your squad.